Hi everybody, this is Carmen and welcome back to my channel and another Cantonese grammar video. In today's video, I'll be talking about a very important yet difficult part of the Cantonese language, and that is final particles. First of all, what are final particles? They are also known as ending particles, and these are words or sounds that are placed at the end of sentences. We use them to change the tone and meaning of a sentence in a subtle way. They are very important because they help us express a range of different attitudes and emotions. And they are mostly used in informal speech, meaning you may not hear or use these in more formal situations, like on the news or even in writing. For anyone who are learning or have learned Mandarin, you will find that these exist in Mandarin as well, but to a lesser extent. This means that there are fewer commonly used final particles and they are less nuanced. We now know that these particles are important, but why? Firstly, we can use these to soften or strengthen a statement by making it less assertive or adding more emphasis. We can use final particles to express nuances like doubt, affirmation, surprise, or even new information, without changing any of the words used in the statement. They can also help us convey contexts like politeness, curiosity, or even certainty. Let's start with one of the most commonly used particles, a. This particle is used to soften a command so it is less abrupt and demanding. It also helps us sound more casual and relaxed. Here is an example. 你做咩啊? This means, what are you doing? This gives off a sense of familiarity and politeness. Let's have a look at another example. 你去邊度啊? 你去邊度啊? Where are you going? Using a neutral question like this, makes the question less interrogative, so we are not demanding an answer, but more of a friendly question. Let's look at used at the end of a regular statement. 我返屋企啊. 我返屋企啊. I'm going back home. This softens the tone of the sentence, almost like, oh, I'm just going home. Is commonly used like this as we don't want to sound strong and assertive all the time. Let's move on to another commonly used final particle in Cantonese, la, or it can also be pronounced la. This particle indicates a change in situation or past event and makes the statement relevant to the present moment. For example, 我哋走啦. We're leaving. This is what we mean by a change of state. Here, you can either use the plosive k at the end and make it la instead. This just adds a sense of assertiveness to it. The fact is, we're leaving now. Basically, it conveys a new phase. Here's another example. 夠鐘返學啦. 夠鐘返學啦. It's time to go to school. You can add certain time words or phrases to indicate the present moment. This just adds emphasis. With that said, you don't actually need these words or phrases. Here, you also see the usage of 返 again. In the previous example, 返 meant to go back, which makes sense in the context of returning home. But why do we use it here with school? Now, this has something to do with the fact that we return to school every day. This applies to the idea of work as well. We leave work and we go back every day, hence the usage of 返. This is how Cantonese describes the action of going to school. This does not apply to Mandarin. Here is another example. 夠鐘食飯啦. 夠鐘食飯啦. It's time to eat a meal. Here, la, with the extra k at the end, makes this sound more assertive, almost adding a sense of haste. Here is another common ending particle, ge. I've talked quite extensively about the usage of ge in a previous video. I will link that here. Apart from being a possessive, we also use ge at the end of a sentence or statement to either convey possession or add emphasis, or both. For example, 呢個係我嘅. This is mine. So this conveys a possession, at the same time it adds emphasis. The fact is, this belongs to me. Here is an example of a sentence that uses ge to add emphasis. 我今日唔返工嘅. 我今日唔返工嘅. I'm not going to work today. This emphasizes the fact that this person does not work today. Here is another example of 嘅 used as a possessive. 架車係我嘅. 架車係我嘅. The car is mine. If you remember from my previous video, adding 嘅 to a pronoun like 我 turns it into a possessive pronoun, so words like mine, yours, his, hers, and so on. So 我嘅 means mine. 我 is a particle that indicates new information, surprise, or doubt. For example, 佢嚟咗喎. He's arrived. In this example, 我 is used to convey new information. Depending on context, it can also be used to express surprise. For example, let's imagine a boss decides to cancel a meeting with a business partner and tells his secretary this. His secretary can say, 佢嚟咗喎, to mean, but he's already come, suggesting it doesn't make sense to cancel the meeting or asking what they should do regarding the situation. This particle can also be used to report speech. Here is an example sentence. 嗰個今日減價喎. 嗰個今日減價喎. That's on sale today. Here's another example showing 喎 used as a way to report speech, but this also depends on context. 你唔可以咁樣做喎. 你唔可以咁樣做喎. You cannot do this. The last particle we're going to look at in this video is this la. This is not to be confused with the earlier la or la. Notice that la is in the first tone. It is used to make suggestions, like advice, or to urge someone to do something gently, without sounding too demanding. In a way, this is a little bit similar to the earlier but is used in neutral questions and statements, while la is used when urging someone to do something. For example, 一齊去啦. Come on, let's go together. Adding la gives this a hint of friendliness and less demanding. It also makes it sound more encouraging. Here is an example. 你去啦. 你去啦. You just go. This adds a sense of encouragement. Here is another example. 唔好咁樣啦. 唔好咁樣啦. Come on, don't be like this. This conveys a gentle urge. Of course, that's not all, but those are some of the more common ones that we use in daily Cantonese speech. In my next video, I will talk about even more common but slightly more advanced final particles. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe and leave a comment below. I'll see you next time. Bye bye!